Good morning, children. How are you all? I hope you all are fit and fine and staying very well at your homes. So, children, let us start today's mathematics class of grade 10th. This is class 10th, subject mathematics, chapter number 15, probability. Children, through this video, I am going to explain the complete summary lecture, means each and every important concept, whatever I have explained you related to chapter number 15, probability. So everybody will have to watch this video very carefully and please try to recall each and every concept, whatever I have explained you so far. Children, in summary lecture, the topics which I am going to make you recall, they are: number one, I will be making you recall the definition of probability. Then we will be switching to the concept of experiment. Then in third number, I will be explaining you what do you mean by a random experiment. Number fourth is the explanation of the definition of event as well as its types will be explained. Number fifth is the concept of outcomes as well as its types will be explained. Number sixth is the theoretical definition of probability. This is nothing but the formula of probability will be made you recall. And last but not the least is sums based on situational problems from exercise 15.1 and 15.2 will be recalled. Clear, students? So children, let us start today's lecture. The very first topic which I am going to explain, that is definition of probability. As it is clear from the name itself, probability means possibility of occurrence of any event. Fine. For example, suppose if I say tomorrow it may rain or it may be the sunny weather tomorrow. So there are the equal chances of occurrence of both the event, that the weather may be sunny or the weather may be rainy tomorrow. Fine. We are not damn sure about the weather tomorrow. Fine. But we are just going to go for the possibility of the occurrence of that event. That the event means the weather may be the sunny or it may be the rainy. Fine. So probability is always measured by a number lying between 0 and 1. Always remember, children, the probability of an event can be either equal to 0, it can be either equal to 1, and of course it lies between 0 to 1. It can never exceed 1 and it can never be negative. So how can I represent it? This is PE. PE means probability of an event. It always lies between 0 to 1 and as well as equal to 0 and 1. When probability of an event will be equal to 0 and when it will be equal to 1, that I am going to explain you further. Okay. So the next topic is, what do you mean by experiment? So the definition of experiment is an operation which produces some well-defined outcomes. Outcomes means the results, is called an experiment. Okay. For example, children, whenever you are going to toss a coin, so this tossing a coin is basically known as the experiment. So what will be the well-defined outcomes in that case? Either you will be getting H, that is head, or you will be getting tail. Fine, T, that is tail. So head and tail, they are basically the well-defined outcomes whenever we are going to toss a coin. But tossing a coin will be known as an experiment. Got it? Let us take one more example to understand the definition of experiment, that is throwing a die. Children, whenever you are going to throw a die, you know you may get either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Correct? These 6 values you can get whenever you are going to throw a die. So this throwing a die is an experiment which is done by you, and to get the number from 1 to 6 are the well-defined outcomes when such kind of experiment is performed. Got it, children? Now, children, our next topic is, what do you mean by random experiment? So let us go through with its definition. If an experiment, when repeated under identical conditions, do not produce the same outcome every time, is known as a random experiment. Basically, children, random experiments are always unpredictable. For example, if I am going to toss a coin, I am not damn sure that every time I will be getting head only, or I am not sure that I will be getting tail every time, correct? So this tossing a coin, throwing a die, or whatever kinds are there, some different kinds of experiments are also there. So they all are basically known as random experiment. Why they are random experiment? Because every time they are not going to give us, or they are not going to produce the same outcome. Means we are not damn sure that the same outcome will occur every time. Okay, whenever I am going to throw a die, okay, I may get the even numbers, that is 2, 4, 6, or I may get a prime number, that is 2, 3, 5. So we are not damn sure that every time we will be getting either the digit 1, 2 or 3. Fine, we can get any of the result. Okay, so whenever there is, we are not sure that what kind of result we are going to get every time, means it is unpredictable, then such kind of experiments are known as random experiment. Got it, children? So for example, tossing a fair coin. Why I am calling it fair? Because whenever we are going to toss a coin, we do not know whether we will be getting head or we will be getting tail. So that's why we are calling it fair coin. Okay. This is a random experiment because we toss a coin. Whenever we are going to toss a coin, then either a head or a tail will come up. Okay, so this is unpredictable. Fine. So that's why this is known as random experiment. But children, for example, if I am going to throw a stone on the upward direction, so definitely it will be coming on the downward direction. So that will not be a random experiment. Why? Because the result is fixed. Whenever a coin, either a coin or whenever a stone will be thrown on the upward side, so definitely it will be coming on the downward side. Okay, due to gravitational force, that you know. But whenever we are going to toss a coin, we know that there is the equal chances of getting head as well as tail. In the same manner, there are the equal chances to get 1 to 6 number whenever we are going to throw a die. So such kind of experiments will be known as random experiment, where the result is unpredictable. We cannot predict it in advance. Now here comes our next point, that is event as well as its types. So what do you mean by event? An event for an experiment is the collection of some outcomes of the experiment. Whatever experiment you people are going to perform, so definitely you will be getting some well-defined outcomes. So the collection of all those outcomes is known as event. Okay. So we always denote it by E. For example, the event is to get an even number when a die is thrown. So what kind of favorable outcomes will be there in that case? As we want the even number. So children, what will be the event to get the even number whenever a die is thrown? So definitely the numbers, or I should say that the favorable outcomes will be 2, 4, 6 in that case. Correct, children? So event, for example, if you will be asked that whenever you are going to toss a coin, so the event is to get a tail or a head. Okay, so that will be known as event. So now let us discuss about the types of the event. So whenever it is asked to calculate the probability, definitely you will be having some event given in that question. Correct? So here are the types of the event. The very first one is impossible event. An event which is impossible to occur. For example, getting the number 7 when a die is tossed. Children, you know that whenever a die is tossed, we used to get the number from 1 to 6. Okay. So it is an impossible event that we are going to get the number 7. So what will be the probability in that case? It will be 0 upon 6, that is 0. Or in other words, you can say that the probability for an impossible event will always be 0. Children, as I explained you that probability always lies between 0 to 1, as well as it is equal to 0 as well as equal to 1. So for which case the probability will be equal to 0? For the case of impossible event. Got it? Now children, the next type of the event is sure or certain event. An event which is sure to occur means it will definitely occur. Okay. For example, getting a number less than 7 when a die is tossed. Of course, we know that on a die there are the numbers which start from 1 and goes up to 6. So they all are less than 7. So what will be the probability of getting a number less than 7? That will be 6 by 6, that is equal to 1. So the probability in case the event is sure will always be equal to 1. Okay children, our next point is how to calculate complement of an event. What do you mean by complement? Let us understand it. Let E be an event associated with a random experiment. Random experiment is that experiment in which the outcomes are unpredictable. Okay. Then its complement denoted by E bar. How do we denote the complement of an event? We will write E and we will be placing bar above it. Okay. This is an event which occurs if and only if E does not occur. Means the complement is nothing but the negation of an event. Okay. Means the event is not going to be occur in that case. Fine. For example, suppose if I say, let us read it first, then I will be explaining you. Let E be the event of getting an even number in a single throw of a die. So what will be its negation, or I should call what will be the complement of this event E? That will be to get the odd number when a die is thrown. Correct? For example, if I have thrown a die and I want that the event must show the prime numbers. Children, you know that prime numbers are always greater than 1, and they are those numbers which have exactly two factors. 1 and the number itself. Okay. So what are the prime numbers in that case? That is 2, 3, 5. Okay. But if I ask you, you have to calculate the complement of the event. And what is the event? To get the prime numbers. So definitely what would be the answer in that case? Yes, the answer will be the composite numbers. Composite numbers are those numbers which are not prime, which have more than 2 factors. Okay. So in short, the complement is nothing but we have to take those very outcomes which are not going to happen in the event E. Okay. Means the negation, the negative part of the event we have to take. If we are going to talk about even number in the event, then we will have to take in its complement, we have to take the odd numbers. If we are going to talk about the prime numbers, then its complement, in its complement we have to take its composite numbers. Got it? Suppose if there is an event in which the coin is tossed, okay, and I want head, exactly head. So definitely its complement will show tail. Okay. So in its complement we are supposed to take those very outcomes which are not going to be occur in the event itself. Got it? Okay, one important note is there that I have already explained you. Probability of getting an impossible event is 0, and probability of getting the sure or the certain event is always equal to 1. Okay? Now here comes our next topic, that is what do you mean by outcome and its types. So children, I have just explained you outcomes means the results. Okay. For example, whenever you are going to throw a die or whenever you are going to toss a coin, in die you know what will be the possible outcomes. That will be starting from digit 1 going up to 6. In the same manner, whenever we are going to toss a coin, we will be getting either tail or we will be getting either head. So these are basically the outcomes whenever an experiment is going to be happen. Okay. So what are the types? The very first type is equally likely outcomes. So let us read about it. What do you mean by equally likely outcomes? The outcomes of a random experiment. Again I repeat, Random experiments are those experiments in which the results, we are not known about the results, means they are unpredictable to us. Okay. So the outcomes of a random experiment are said to be equally likely when each outcome is as likely to occur as the other. For example, whenever we are going to throw a die, we know that there are the equal chances of getting digit 1 to 6. Okay, you can get either 1, either 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. So what will be the probability for each and every outcome? It will be 1 upon 6. For 1 also, for 2 also, for 3, for 4, for 5 as well as for 6 also. Because in probability you are going to count the number of favorable outcomes. Fine. So what do you mean by equally likely outcomes? Equally likely outcomes are basically those outcomes in which there is the probability or there are the chances of occurrence of each and every outcome is equal. Got it? So let us switch to the next one. Okay, one more thing I want to include in it. For example, children, I am going to toss a coin. So can you tell me what will be the probability to get head? Correct, it will be half. Because the total outcomes are 2. Here for die the total outcomes were 6. So what was the probability to get the digit 1? It was 1 only. To get the digit 2, it was again 1. So the probability was 1 upon 6 for each and every outcome whenever we are going to throw a die. So that's why it is known as equally likely outcome. But whenever we are going to toss a coin, the probability to get head is half, as well as the probability to get a tail is also half. Got it? Now here comes the next one, that is favorable outcomes. What do you mean by favorable outcomes? The outcomes which ensure the occurrence of the event are called favorable outcomes. Favorable outcomes are basically those outcomes, children, which are going to give you the appropriate result. Outcomes means the result. Favorable means which are favorable to us, which are basically going to make us reach to the right solution. Okay. So the outcomes which ensure the occurrence of an event means the event is going to be occurred using these favorable outcomes. So that is known as favorable outcome to the event. So let us understand it through example. For example, the favorable outcome to the event of getting an even number when a die is thrown are 2, 4, 6. So can you let me know about the probability in that case? These are, children, favorable outcomes. But what was the event in that case? We wanted the even numbers. So there are 3 number, means the number of favorable outcomes are 3. And how many will be the possible outcomes when a die is thrown? That will be 6. So 3 by 6, that is half is the probability to get the even numbers when a die is thrown. Got it? So you will better understand when you will come to know about the theoretical definition of a probability. This is nothing but the formula to calculate the probability of an event. Okay. So probability of an event, E stands for event. Okay, the event is what basically? An event is nothing but the collection of some outcomes of the experiment. Okay. So let us reach on the theoretical definition of the probability. So probability of an event is equal to number of favorable outcomes. I have just told you what are favorable outcomes on the basis of which you will be completing your solution. Okay, which will ensure the occurrence of the event. So number of favorable outcomes divided by total number of outcomes will give you the probability of an event. So let us understand through it an example. When a die is thrown, there are 6 possible outcomes. You know, starting from 1 going up to the digit 6. So let E be the event of getting the digit 4. So what will be the favorable outcome in that case? 4 itself will be the favorable outcome. But how many numbers are there of the favorable outcome? That is 1 only. We want here number of favorable outcomes. So what will be the probability of getting the digit 4 when a die is thrown? That is 1 upon 6. 6 is total number of outcomes and 1 is favorable outcome. Got it? So the probability in this case will be 1 upon 6. So children, these all are the important definitions which all are given in NCERT, as well as these are the part of your syllabus. It is mandatory for every child to memorize these definitions. Okay? So children, I am going to take few questions from exercise 15.1. Question 1 to 5 are your maths homework. What are there in 1 to 4? Sorry, 1 to 4 questions are your maths homework. They are just based on the theoretical part which I have explained to you. Fine. And filling the blanks, true, false, such kind of questions are there in it. As I have explained you, that probability of an event is basically lying between 0 to 1, as well as it is equal to 0 and equal to 1. It can never exceed 1 and it can never be negative. So question 1 to 4 consists of MCQs, filling the blanks, and very small give reasons are asked, which is based on the theoretical part. Fine children? So that will be your maths homework. I am going to start from question number 5. Okay, in which some solutions, some steps are required basically. So question number 5 is, if probability of an event is 0.05, what is the probability of not E? Means negation of E. That you know, how do we call it? That is complement of E. Correct? So children, you know that how do we calculate P not E? Always remember that the sum of probability of an event as well as probability of its complement is always equal to 1. So when you know probability of an event, so we can easily calculate probability of not E. Why it is equal to 1? Because you know that probability can never exceed 1. The highest probability will be equal to 1. And in complement, we used to include basically those outcomes which are not occurring in the actual event. Correct? So when we are going to include actual outcomes, and as well as we are going to include those outcomes also which are coming in the complement of the event, so definitely we are going to take complete all the outcomes we are going to cover. So in that case children, the probability will always be equal to 1, because probability cannot exceed 1. So always remember this fact, that probability of an event plus probability of complement of that event is always equal to 1. So let us substitute the value of probability of event here, and we have calculated P naught E, that is probability of complement of the event, is equal to 1 minus 0.05, that is 0.95. So let us understand how. This can be written as 1.00, and we are going to subtract 0.05 from it. How? 0 minus 5 is not possible, so definitely it is going to take borrow from the another number, but this 0 cannot give the borrow, so here it will be 9, here it will be 0, and here it will become 10. 10 minus 5 is 5, 9 minus 0 is 9, and 0 minus 0 is 0. So what is the probability of not of E? That is 0.95. Got it? Children, in this chapter I am going to just pick the toughest ones, toughest questions. Okay, the simplest one I am going to give you to do at home, as well as in which some solutions are required. Only those very questions I am going to explain you, so that you must come to know how to write the steps while solving the questions based on probability. Got it? So now I am going to switch to question number 10. This is, a piggy bank contains 100 50 paise coins. So what is the number of 50 paise coins? That is 100. 50 rupees 1 coins. So what is the number of rupees 1 coin? That is 50. 20 rupees 2 coins. Number of 2 rupees coins is equal to 20. And the number of rupees 5 coins is equal to 10. It is equally likely that one of the coin will fall out. Okay. When the bank is turned upside down, then what is the probability that the coin, first part says, it will be a 50 paise coin, or in second part, it will not be a rupees 5 coin. Means note is also demanded. Note is nothing but the complement. Otherwise, in first part it is asked that we will have to calculate the probability of the event in which we just want 50 paise coins. Got it? So let us make a chart based on the given conditions. Total number of coins will be 180. Of course, how they will be 180? 100 coins are there of 50 paise, 100. Then 50 coins are of rupees 1. So 100 plus 50 will become 150. Then 20 coins are of rupees 2. 150 plus 20 will become 170. And ultimately 10 coins are there of rupees 5. So 170 plus 10 will become 180. Got it? So this is a kind of flow chart based on the given information. Now children, how to write the solution? That matters a lot in probability. First part, first of all you have to consider, let E be the event. In that event, what is demanded? To get or of getting 50 paise coins. You know how many coins are there of 50 paise? Yes, they are 100 in number. They are 100 in number. Okay. So now what will be the favorable outcome in that case? The number of favorable outcome will be 100, of course. So probability of the event, that is E, is equal to number of favorable outcomes upon total number of outcomes. Total number of outcomes are nothing but the total number of coins over here. Okay. So favorable outcomes are what? Which are providing us the result. And what the result is demanded according to the event. It is 50 paise coins. We want the number of 50 paise coins, which is 100 in number. So it would become 100 upon 180. Cancel them. It is 2 5s are 10 and 2 9s are 18. So 5 upon 9 will be the probability of the event in which the 50 paise coins are demanded. Got it? Now, either you can write for the second part, you can show the same event, or you can write it by E1 also. No problem. Fine, that depends on you. So let E1 be the event of not getting a rupees 5 coins. Means I do not want 5 rupees coins. Otherwise, the rest of the coins can be demanded. So children, you know that 5 rupees coins are 10 in number. Correct? Total coins are 180. But I do not want these very 10 coins. Why? Because they are related to rupees 5 coins. So what will be the favorable number of favorable outcomes in that case? It will be 180 minus 10. That is 170. Because these are number of favorable outcomes. These are demanded. This is the demand of the question. Fine. So probability of E1 is equal to number of favorable outcomes upon total number of outcomes. This formula you have to write in every part. Fine. So that must be equal to what? It must be equal to 170 upon 180. 180 is total number of coins and 170 is number of favorable outcomes. Cancel 0. You have got 17 upon 18. This is the probability of not getting a rupees 5 coin. Now children, I am going to begin with the horse questions of exercise 15.2. Question number 1 was discussed with me in my previous lecture that I explained you. Okay, now I am going to switch to question number 3. Question number 2 is very simple. The concept which is covered in question number 2, that also I have taught you in my previous lectures. So that would be included in your maths homework. Fine children? So this is question number 3. The very first, or I should say the second horse, but the very first horse of today's lecture. A bag contains 5 red balls and some blue balls. We do not know the number of blue balls, but here it is defined that number of red balls is equal to 5. If the probability of drawing a blue ball is double that of a red ball, then determine the number of blue balls in the bag. Got it? So let us have a look on its solution. How to do it, children? First of all, as you know that we will have to calculate the number of blue balls. So let us consider it. Let the number of blue balls is equal to x. Number of red balls you know, that is 5. So can you tell me how many total balls will be there? Correct. So the total number of balls is equal to 5 plus x. So children, this 5 plus x will become our total number of possible outcomes. Got it? So this is possible outcomes. Now, according to question, it is said if the probability of drawing a blue ball. So first of all, we will have to calculate the probability of drawing a blue ball. You know how many blue balls are there? Number of blue balls is equal to x. So this x will become the favorable outcome of blue balls. The formula for probability is number of favorable outcomes upon total number of outcomes. Means total number of possible outcomes. So through that I have calculated the probability of drawing blue ball. It would be x upon 5 plus x. Correct? So this probability is double of, that is twice of the probability of the red ball. Now children, how many red balls are there? 5. So what will be the favorable outcomes? The number of favorable outcome, that will be 5. So the probability of red ball will be 5 upon total number of possible outcomes, that is 5 plus x. Correct? So this is an equation formed. Either you can solve it like 2 into 5, it would become 10 upon 5 plus x. Then while cross multiplying also you can solve it. Or I found the easiest alternate for it, that when I am going to bring this 5 plus x on left hand side, they both will be cancelled. So I have just cancelled them here only. Got it? So x is equal to 10. So the number of blue balls will be equal to 10. Clear? Okay. Now here is our next question, that is question number 4. It is again horse question. Please be alert. A box contains 12 balls. So how many balls are contained by a box? That is 12. Means these are total number of balls. Correct? Out of which x are black in color. Out of these 12 balls, the number of black balls is equal to x. If one ball is drawn at random, means one ball is picked at random from that box, what is the probability that it will be a black ball only? So children, let us discuss it right now. You know that the number of black balls is equal to x. So that will be the favorable outcome for the event in which we want that the ball should be of black color. So x will be favorable outcome divided by total number of balls, that is 12. So x upon 12 will be the probability to get the black ball. So we have solved one part orally. Correct? Now, if 6 more black balls are put in the box. Now you tell me, if there were 12 balls earlier, 6 more are added. So now the total has become 18. Correct? And they all are black in color. Earlier the black balls number was x. So when 6 more will be added, it would become x plus 6. Yes or no? Correct? Now the probability of drawing a black ball means now probability. Now the new one you have to talk about. This is now double of that whatever was calculated earlier. So we are going to calculate the value of x. So this is all about understanding of the question. Now I will be showing you its solution. So children, here is the solution. Number of black balls is given to us, that is x. Total number of balls is also given to us, that is 12. So the probability of drawing a black ball is equal to number of black balls upon total number of balls. This is not essential that you should change the formula in this way. You could write that number of black balls is nothing but the number of favorable outcomes and total number of balls is equal to total number of possible outcomes. Correct? So the same formula you could write here also. So the probability to get a black ball will be x upon 12. That I have already explained you. Okay, orally also. Now, If 6 more black balls are put in the box, then the total number of black balls will become x plus 6. Explained just now. Fine. These I am talking about the total number of black balls. But if I am going to talk about the total number of balls, whether they are of some different color also other than black color, so that would become 12 plus 6 is equal to 18. Clear or not? Fine. Now it is said in the question that when 6 more black balls are added in the box, then the probability, means the new probability which I am talking about, that is double of the probability which we calculated earlier, means this probability. Okay. So now let us calculate the probability of drawing a black ball on the basis of this data. It is favorable outcome, of course, because we are writing in the formula number of black balls upon total number of balls. So now the number of black ball is x plus 6 upon total number of balls has become 18 now. Clear? So children, according to question, the new probability which we have calculated when the number of black balls has been increased in the box, that is equal to x plus 6 upon 18. This probability is double, means it is twice of what? The probability which we calculated in case 1 when there was no black ball added in the box. Got it? So when this probability is double, so I have to make double to that probability which we calculated earlier, so that both the expressions will become equal and a linear equation in one variable will be formed. Clear? As we are going to calculate the value of the variable x in this question. So this 2 and 12 are going to be cancelled. 2 ones are 2, 2 6 are 12. Clear? So children, what I have got here, have a look. I have got x plus 6 upon 18 is equal to x upon 6. You can cancel it also. 6 1s are 6, 6 3s are 18. The choice is yours. Or you can go for the cross multiplication also. While cross multiplication, I got 6 in bracket x plus 6. So that would become 6x plus 36 is equal to 18 into x, that is 18x. Clear? Children, as I know that there is only one variable present in this equation, so this is known as linear equation in one variable. So we have to calculate the value of x. So this 6x will come on right hand side. It would become 18x minus 6x is equal to 12x. That is equal to 36. So x is equal to 36 divided by 12, that is 3. So what do we want basically? We wanted the value of x. And what was x, children? It was the number of black balls. So number of black balls is equal to x is equal to 3. Understood? Now children, this is the last HOTS, or I should say the last question of this chapter from NCERT. Fine. So please be alert. Question number 5. A jar contains 24 marbles. How many marbles are contained by the jar? 24. Some are green in color and the others are blue in color. Out of these 24 marbles, some are green, some are blue. But we do not know the number of blue as well as the green marbles. Fine. According to this question, it is clear that some are green and others are blue. If a marble is drawn at randomly a marble is picked from the box, from the jar, then the probability that it is green is 2 by 3. Children, till now we were calculating the probability. But now here the probability is in our hand. So what is demanded in the question? find the number of blue marbles in the jar. And we will be having the probability of green marbles given to us. So we are going to use the probability of green marbles to calculate the number of blue marbles. Got it? So children, here is the solution of question number 5. Total number of marbles are given to us, that is equal to 24. Fine. But how many are green out of those 24 and how many are blue? That is not specified in the question. So what can I do? As I have to calculate, I have to find out the number of the blue marbles. So definitely I will have to assume either of the two marbles. Correct? Because I know the total number of marbles also. So let the number of green marbles is equal to x. If there are total 24 marbles in number, out of those x are green. So how many are left, children? Definitely 24 minus x. Please understand this concept. For example, I had 15 toffees. Out of those 15 toffees, I have given 5 toffees to my friend. So I am left with 15 minus 5, that is 10 toffees. The same concept we are going to apply over here. We had total 24 marbles. Out of those 24 marbles, x are green in color. So x will be removed. Okay. So the number of blue marbles will become 24 minus x. Here many children remain confused. Fine. Basically, most of the time we used to subtract the value from the variable. But here we are going to subtract the variable from the value. Please children, make sure that the number of green balls will be lesser than the total number of marbles. Why? Because blue marbles are also present over there. Clear children? So it will be 24 minus x. These are number of blue marbles. Clear? Okay. Now, as I told you when I was explaining you the statement that we are going to use the probability which is given to us of drawing green marble. Correct? So the probability of drawing a green marble is equal to, again, number of green marbles upon total number of marbles. Children, I repeat, you are not supposed to write down the formula in this way if you are not willing. You could write it in the theoretical manner also. What was that? Number of favorable outcomes upon total number of outcomes. But the need is that you should know how many are favorable. As I am going to calculate the probability of the green marble, so definitely children, x will be the favorable outcome in that case. Why? Because number of green marble is x. Clear? And total number of marbles are 24. So what would be the probability? It would be x upon 24. Correct? Which is already given to us in the question. X upon 24 is equal to 2 by 3. So this is the probability which I have calculated according to my assumption, and this is the probability which is given to me of drawing green marble. So definitely both the probabilities are related to the green marble, must be placed equal to each other. Correct? Now while cross multiplying, it would become 3x is equal to 24 into 2. So x is equal to 24 into 2 upon 3. 3 ones are 3. 3 8s are 24. So 8 into 2 will become 16. So children, we have calculated the value of x, that is 16. But what was x? X was the number of green marbles. But in the question, what is demanded? In the question, we are asked to calculate the number of blue marbles. So what is the number of blue marbles? This is 24 minus x. Correct? So here it is written that number of green marbles is equal to x is equal to 16 and number of blue marbles is equal to 24 minus x. Place the value of x over here. It would become 24 minus 16, that is equal to 8. Children, we can verify also whether we have reached on the right solution or not. See, 8 is the number of blue marbles, 16 is the number of green marbles. And how many are total marbles? 24. So 16 plus 8 will also become 24. Got it, children? Understood? So this was the last HOTS as well as the last question of NCERT of chapter number 15, probability. Clear? I hope you all have understood whatever is taught today in today's lecture. Still, if you are left with any doubt or any query, then you can resolve those queries during live classes. Fine, children? Now, children, this is the time to get mathematics homework. As I have made you understand each and every concept of probability through my summary lecture, now tomorrow your test of the same chapter will be conducted. So your maths homework is prepare chapter number 15 probability for test tomorrow. Children, you will have to do at least 12 sums. Either you can do exercise sums, but if you are very much sure that you can do exercise sums independently, errorless, so you can do examples also, but they must be 12 in number. So do question 12. 12 sums you are supposed to do along with the examples of chapter number 15 in practice notebook. And children, do not forget to mail it to me. Fine? So that's it for the day. Thank you and have a nice day.